Thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Efrem Graham. Ahead today, is Israel gearing up for a strike on Iran's nuclear program? It could happen. That is according to a new report by the U.S. Intelligence Office. And while the world focuses on the danger from Iran, Israel could be facing a threat from the leader of another country, Turkey. Here at home, Congressional Republicans working to pass President Donald Trump's tax cut and budget bill as they try to overcome divisions within the party after the president himself visits Capitol Hill to lobby for the measure. And our Studio 5 conversation with Sean McDonough about his new movie, The Last Rodeo, which deals with putting God and your family first and yourself second. All those stories and more right now on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this half hour in the Middle East as the U.S. has obtained new intelligence suggesting Israel is preparing to launch a strike on Iran's nuclear program. That is according to a report from CNN. That story also saying it isn't clear if Israel has decided whether to go ahead with an attack, and that decision could depend on how the U.S. nuclear talks go with Iran. But one source tells CNN the possibility of an Israeli strike has gone up significantly in recent months. President Trump has threatened military action on Iran's nuclear program within a couple of months if the talks fail. Many Israeli leaders believe this is a good time to strike Iran because it is at its weakest point in decades. And while the world has been focused on Iran, another potential threat to Israel could be on the rise. Since the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, Turkey is making moves to increase its presence in that country. Analysts believe it's part of Recep Erdogan's vision to revive the Ottoman Empire. And his ambitions could mean trouble for Israel. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl is on this story.
The concern is Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan may have aspirations that are even greater than Iran's.
If we are talking about the influence in Syria, he already took the place of Russia and Iran. But I think given the Ottoman glorious past, I think his ambitions are far more bigger than Iran's.
Born and raised in Turkey, Chai Eitan Cohen Yanarocek monitors its actions for the Moshe Dayan Center as well as the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security. He tells CBN News one shouldn't underestimate Erdogan when he insists the borders of Turkey are larger than they are now.
We do see the boundaries of the Ottoman Empire. So as much as Belgrade, he is talking about Jerusalem. As much as Athens, he is talking about other cities like Cairo and other cities inside the Middle East. So I don't think that it is limited within the boundaries of the Middle East.
The Ottoman Empire, also known as the Turkish Empire, began more than 700 years ago, eventually controlling Southeast Europe, as well as parts of West Asia, North Africa, and the Middle East, up to the early 20th century. After World War I, the Allied powers partitioned the Ottoman Empire, including what became known as Palestine. Yanarocek says December's fall of Syrian President Bashar Assad opened the door for Erdogan to implement his goal of reviving an empire, beginning with Syria.
We all witnessed that since the beginning of the Syrian civil war. The Turkish president provided everything he has to the Syrian opposition. And he is turning the current Syrian administration as his core ally by providing some civilian services like paving the roads, paving railways, providing radars, and repairing airports and other facilities. Turkey is creating here a very important dependency from the Syrian side.
Yanarocek adds Turkey is the only country declaring an intention to build up the new Syrian army, while the U.S. has demanded that it destroys its chemical weapons and renounce terrorism. On paper, Israel and Turkey have shared diplomatic relations since 1949, although Erdogan's moves could put that at risk.
The Turkish president, at the end of the Eid al-Fitr celebrations, he unfortunately wished for the destruction of Israel. Especially after October the 7th, we cannot tolerate some, future threats.
Since the Assad regime fell, Israel has bombed weapons stockpiles and strategic military locations while establishing a buffer zone along its border with Syria. Israel is concerned both with those who control Syria and Turkey's involvement.
They are already building governmental facilities to sort of show a type of sovereignty in the Syrian land as well. You see Turkey building post offices, banks, Turkish banks who are using Turkish currency, schools.
Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskell tells CBN News Israel has two priorities regarding Syria: the safety of Israel and the protection of minorities, including the Christians, Druze, and Kurds. Then there's the outlier.
Turkey is a great concern in what is happening in Syria now. Not just that, we need to hear their declarations and their speeches of their leadership. And that's really concerning, in particularly statements and discourse in regards to Jerusalem. These are declarations who are a red line in regards to Israel, but it shows their intention.
Haskell adds that intention goes beyond Israel.
After what had happened in Syria, they feel like they're on a high horse. But that should be a great concern to all the neighboring countries around.
President Trump recently offered to smooth out any difficulties between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Erdogan.
Any problem that you have with Turkey, I think I can solve. As long as you're reasonable. You have to be reasonable.
Yana Rochik says it's also the first time the U.S. could have access to Syria, which used to be under Russia's thumb and is now being influenced by Turkey, a NATO member.
Now Donald Trump has the opportunity to penetrate into Syria and maybe to play a role for its reconstruction. The name of the game here is money. And since we are talking about the US president and he's a very successful businessman, I believe that the last thing that the American president is looking for in Syria is friction between the state of Israel and Turkey.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up here at home, Congressional Republicans getting ready to vote on President Trump's tax and budget bill, but still facing some concerns from members of their own party. We'll bring you a look at the story when we come back. Congressional Republicans have reportedly reached a deal on a key sticking point on President Trump's tax and budget bill after a long debate and after the president himself paid a visit to Capitol Hill. More negotiations are still underway, but Republicans are hoping for a vote on the bill, possibly as soon as tonight. The president also unveiled a major defense plan to protect the United States from international missile attacks. Our George Thomas has this story.
The powerful House Rules Committee debating the president's bill overnight, starting after midnight this morning. It's a sign of the urgency to pass what President Trump calls his big, beautiful bill. This after the president came to the Capitol Tuesday to make a forceful pitch to House Republicans, warning holdouts of political fallout during the primaries.
Anybody that didn't support it as a Republican, I would consider to be a fool.
Trump is proposing deep tax cuts and spending reductions.
President Trump has used his executive authority in historic ways to stop much of the bleeding. But Congress has a role and a responsibility to step in at this stage.
While GOP leadership appears confident, not everyone in the party is on board.
We are writing checks we cannot cash, and our children are going to pay the price. So I am a no on this bill unless serious reforms are made.
House Democrats plan to oppose the bill, which could be brought to a House vote as early as today. The aim is to get it to the Senate before the Memorial Day break.
This is all about massive, huge tax breaks to billionaires paid for by stealing from working Americans.
Despite the divisions, Trump claimed the party is united and confident it has the votes to pass his signature legislative agenda.
All I want is one thing, 3 words. We don't want any waste, fraud, or abuse. Very simple.
Following the meeting on the Hill, Trump announced at the White House a $175 billion Golden Dome missile defense plan, modeled after Israel's Iron Dome. The system is designed to defend against hypersonic and ballistic missile threats, particularly from Russia and China. George Thomas, CBN News.
Still ahead, we're going to show you how a Southern Baptist missionary couple is serving people in one of the poorest neighborhoods in the city of Medellin in Colombia, helping them to make a living and pointing them to Christ. We're going to bring you the story right after this. Medellin, Colombia is a city striving to overcome its violent past. One major challenge is the plight of an indigenous people group displaced by the drug wars. The Embera people, forced from their ancestral lands, now suffer poverty and hardship. CBN's Brody Carter takes us to the city to see how faith and community are transforming lives.
From 1985 to 2000, over 90,000 people were murdered here in Medellin, Colombia. And while this country has made incredible strides for freedom and safety, quality of life, the heart of this city still struggling and caring for the refugees, and the least of these now resides in the hands of those who are living out their faith.
That includes the Embera people, one of many indigenous groups in Colombia driven from their homeland in Choco by drug cartels and decades of ongoing violence. Many in this tribe live in Medellin's poorest neighborhoods. Missionaries Travis Burkhalter and his wife Beth first served similar groups in the Amazon jungle before moving to the big city to help the Embera.
We're in a neighborhood called Nikitao, and these people have been displaced, so they've had to leave their communities to come to the city. And the only place that they can find to live is in these places that are small. They share a bathroom and bedroom, and they pay by the day. Sabe Balibu home, pieza sabe Balibu. This costs $6 a day to live here. For this room right here costs $6 a day, so that's $180 a month, which is a lot of money.
That daily rent only affords them what's called inquilinatos, cramped rooms with no kitchen or furniture, only enough space for up to 8 people, and the mats are cardboards on which to sleep. Many Embera families live in perpetual survival mode, waking up each day wondering how they'll afford the rent or feed their family. In their culture, when it comes to meals, children eat last, and proper hygiene doesn't happen, leading to malnutrition and other health issues. This child has diarrhea, and many die from diseases that are typically preventable. Parents have asked Travis to pray over their children because their belief in animism, the spirit world, is not working.
The one mom that asked for prayer, the first one, actually her husband is a shaman, a witch doctor. And so it's just ironic and cool that she recognized that maybe we have more power than even her own husband.
While the mothers go out to beg and make enough money, Travis and Beth welcome their children here at Casa Embera, a safe space for children to hang out before school, watch TV, and eat breakfast. Upstairs at school, they learn to speak Spanish, as well as hear the gospel message.
Because of the stress, you know, the moms have to get up early. They have to go out to the street where they beg all day. They come home late at night, and sometimes their husbands are drunk and will beat them. There's a lot of violence, family violence. And then the kids, I think, feel that pressure as well. They feel the stress. It's difficult, even with the kids that come to our ministry house, because sometimes they come and they just want to sleep in the morning. They don't want to do their schoolwork because they've been up all night on the streets begging with their parents.
Filled with love and desperate to share the gospel with these people, Travis learned their language, Embera Clatio of Alto Andagada. He's likely one of the only outsiders who speak it. It's not a written language and has no concept of words for gratitude, faith, or salvation. So he works with translators to create Bible stories in their language, like this one about the baptism of Jesus.
Said I don't know about this story. She goes, I like it. I like hearing God's story about God.
Embera women typically beg or sell their native jewelry to tourists. That led Beth to come up with a plan about 4 years ago, helping pave a way for more dignified work.
Well, what if I helped them come up with some cute designs, and if they could just sell one pair of earrings, they could make enough money to pay for their daily rent and their daily food. That was like my basic goal.
The idea sparked the Embera Bead Project, packaging this jewelry to sell worldwide, helping fight poverty and restoring hope to these families one bead at a time.
We know that God has given us this space, all of these things that we're doing so that we can be able to share the gospel. We hope that more people will come to faith in Christ. Our dream is to plant a church amongst our people group, and that we'll have various believers and be able to make disciples among them.
Casa Embera isn't just a shelter for these people, it's a lifeline. They're empowered through education, crucial health and hygiene classes. The missionaries, working hand in hand with local churches, fulfill their shared desire to offer abundant life to those often overlooked.
She says it's very hard to live here. Yes, it's very hard to pay the rent every day. And so she wants people to know that they could buy her jewelry and help her out.
Today, Beth and Travis navigate the complex visa process, a constant hurdle in their years of dedicated service. Still, their commitment remains unwavering as they offer a challenge to others.
I wish every believer could come and just spend a day with us, just walk around to see the people, to see our love for the people, but then just see their needs, not just the poverty, but the spiritual needs, the sickness, just to see and be a part of their lives for just a day.
Reporting in Medellin, Colombia, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Coming up, our Studio 5 conversation with actor Neil McDonough about his latest film, The Last Rodeo, which deals with doing whatever is necessary to repair your fractured family and putting God first in your life. We're going to hear from him when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch.
Get your daily quick start from CBN News. A quick read on the important news of the day delivered right to your inbox. Stay current on breaking news, politics, and entertainment. Go to quickstart.news and subscribe today.
Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Actor Neil McDonough has written his newest role in The Last Rodeo. It is a story of a retired bull rider who returns to the ring to save his grandson.
Dad, I don't want him riding bulls. Please don't encourage him.
Let's go! I'm here with Billy Hamilton, champion of the PBR.
He's good.
Not as good as you.
Tell me, who is Mr. Wainwright? What's happening?
Joe Wainwright is kind of the everyman. It's, if you want to talk about the film, really, it's when your family gets fractured, when your family gets torn apart a bit, what are you prepared to do to build it back up? And the whole idea of this film came to me when I was doing a Western, and the idea of what would ever happen to me personally if something happened to my wife, Reve. Wow. And it kind of buckled me. And then this thought from above came into my head, right, Rocky on a bull for a grandfather that has to go back and save his grandson because he's suffering from the same brain tumor that killed his wife.
All right, Cody. All right, bud.
The souls of our sons.
It's just an amazing film that really speaks to the core values of the Heartland America. The Heartland of America is always about family first, me second. That's what America was built on. You know, my parents are immigrants. They came from Ireland. And it was those core values of hard work to make your family prosper, making sure it's family first over yourself. And when I was going through my pain, I was making it about me, and I forgot about my family a little bit, and I forgot about God a bit. You know, those are the things I had to find again. Every family has problems. I don't care who you are, you have to go through stuff. And the only way to get through that stuff is through hard work and faith. Faith in yourself, faith in your family, faith in God.
I can't afford it. I have no money. There's no way.
What was it like to revisit that time and tap into your character, to revisit your own personal struggle?
If it's a painful situation, I have to dredge up all the painful things that happened to me. You know, the cancer that I've had in my family, or the deaths that I've had in my family, or having everything taken away in my personal life when I wouldn't do certain things. So, you know, to relive those things, it's pretty hard. But Last Rodeo is the most personal film I've ever done because it's taking my real life problems that I went through and living it.
PBR Legends Championship is this weekend. $1 million for first place.
Have you lost your mind?
to have gone through the difficult things that I've had in my life happen to me, as we all have difficult things happen on, doesn't make me special. We all go through hard stuff in our lives. But it's through the faith and believing in him that he'd pull me out of the ashes.
So what's your prayer for the project now that we're literally just days away from the release?
It's not anything more than if you love these types of films that go back to what the heartland of America is really about, family values, with the energy of an action-packed film. That's what this is. But this is a great movie that calls you out a bit. It makes you think, okay, am I good enough dad? Am I good enough daughter? Am I good enough coworker? Am I good enough human being? Am I good enough child of God? Am I?
You could die out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PBR Legends Championship.
Let's root for each other a little bit more. Let's go to the cinema, have a great night at the movie theater, support this film and tell America we don't need just these big explosive films or these dark, crazy movies. We need films that are uplifting and talk to the real American family.
Here we go! Come on, Joe, get in! Get in! Get in!
And you can see The Last Rodeo on the big screen when it premieres in theaters this Friday. Be sure to join us this evening for an all-new edition of Studio 5. The incredible life story of Christian recording artist Carmen is now one step closer to the big screen. We sit down with the filmmakers for a closer look, and for the first time, we're revealing the actor who is going to bring Carmen's story to life. You can catch the all-new edition of Studio 5 tonight on the CBN News Channel at 8 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News app, and you can find it on YouTube. Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is planted. You may feel buried in life circumstances. You are not buried. You are not dead. You're planted, and there is still life ahead. And with life comes growth. There is a bloom in your future. You are not buried. You are planted. So trust God to bring growth in challenging times. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time. That also, you can find them online at cbnnews.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye. God bless.